3, 4. Hey everybody, it's James here from GoodGuitarist.com, and today I have a highly requested lesson for you. It's a fingerstyle, like chord melody version of Freight Train, and this is, as far as chord melodies go, it's like entry level. I'd say this is like definitely an intermediate level thing in general, but as far as the chords are concerned, it's pretty straightforward, just like C, G, there's an E chord in there, and then for F, we could do that, but you might have noticed there I played a way simpler version where, it's just 3 fingers, and it sounds pretty cool too. And yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the chord shapes are concerned. If you do along the way find that you need any extra help, please don't hesitate to let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there, if you could take a moment to subscribe to the channel, like the video. If you enjoy learning guitar with me, I'd really appreciate that. And a little bit later, I have a fingerstyle course that I'd like to talk about, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. Anyways, we're just going to jump right in. We're starting off on a C chord. And before we start plucking away, let's lay down some ground rules. This song utilizes a technique called Travis picking. It's the most famous fingerstyle technique ever, and it revolves around the idea that your thumb is holding down the beat. It's playing like a bass line, It just plays like a really simple bass line, and it's going to change depending on the chord that you're playing. So on the C chord, we play the A string and then the D string. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you got to start here. I know, when I was first learning guitar, I just looked at the tab and I just tried learning everything like vertically. I'd be like, oh, I missed that. Oh, okay. And I learned it that way. But I realize now that you learn like the bottom part. You learn the thumb first. Then once you have that foundation, it's pretty easy to add the fingers on top, and you're going to reach your goal much faster. It's going to sound way more stable. You're not going to be pausing and stuff. So please bear with me as I take you through the exact steps that you need to take. I don't just want to read the tab to you. You can just look this up online. I actually have the tab on my Patreon page, by the way, which you'll probably need afterwards. So I'll put a link for that down below as well if you want to print off some materials to go with this lesson. But anyways, my point is I want to show you how to actually practice a song so you end up playing it and you don't just own another piece of sheet music that you can kind of play like the first 8 measures of. So we start off on C and we just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we switch to G, and for that I'm just going to put my ring finger on the thickest string and that's it. My thumb is now going to pluck the thickest string on beat 1 and it's still going to hit the D string on 2 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll just write out the order of the chords here. C 2 times, G 2 times, G 2 times, C 2 times. And I recommend just doing it like that. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And just practicing that over and over again. That's what we do in my fingerstyle course, and that's why people who take it end up succeeding, because I have the time to break it down there and really practice it with you. For a YouTube video, obviously I can't go on for hours or else the algorithm will just destroy me. But suffice to say, that's the path that you would take. And then for the E chord, same thing as the G. So the thickest string and the D string. And we just do that 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for F, we're going to play the F chord like this. Ring finger on the 3rd fret of the D string, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the next one, index on the 1st fret of the B string. So just 3 in a row. 3, 2, 1. And our thumb is going to go between the D string and the G string. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we finish it off back to C, with a little cool ending thing. I'll show you that in a second. Either way, you want to be comfortable just thumbing it through the entire tune. Now we can add that chord melody aspect of it. And in order to do that, we're going to use our index, middle, and ring finger to pluck the thinner strings. My index is on the G string. My middle finger is on the B string. My ring finger is on the E string, and they're going to stay there forever. They own those strings. This way you don't have to think about like what finger I use to pluck which string. You just think index, and that'll activate whatever note you're playing on that string, and so on. We have our C chord. I'm going to put my pinky down on the 3rd fret of the thinnest string. That gives us the melody note that we're going to begin with. And I'm going to pluck thumb and ring finger on beat 1. Then beat 2, just my thumb on the D string, of course, because it's following that pattern. And then I'm going to release my pinky finger and I'm going to pluck thumb and ring again. That gives me the open high E string on beat 3. So the first measure is pretty easy. Just 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to put my pinky finger down on the 3rd fret of the B string, and I'm continuing the same thumb pattern. Now it's my index and middle on beat 1, and then my index and middle again on beat 2, but I'm lifting my pinky to reveal the 1st fret of the B string, which we're already holding down as part of our C chord. So for this second measure, thumb and middle together, and then thumb and middle together on beat 2. Remember, on beat 2, your thumb is on the D string. And then we just, for beats 3 and 4, just our thumb only. So the first couple measures, and then I'm going to switch to G, just using my ring finger only on the 3rd fret of the thickest string, thumb and middle. Remember, your middle owns that B string. Then just my thumb on beat 2. And then I'm going to add my pinky to the 3rd fret of the thinnest string. Thumb and ring together when I'm picking. And then on beat 4, I'm going to switch to my index finger on the thinnest string at the 1st fret. So this measure and then just a measure without any melody, just carrying on our bass line. And now I'm going to stick to the G chord. On beat 1, I have my pinky on the 3rd fret of the thinnest string again, and I pluck thumb and ring. And then on beat 3, my index is on the 1st fret of the thinnest string, once again plucking thumb and ring. So that measure. Moving on, I release my index finger from my fretting hand and I just pluck the thickest string and the thinnest string, thumb and ring. Then I'm going to add my pinky to the 3rd fret of the B string on beat 2. And then I finish off my bass pattern. That's why it's so important to be familiar with the bass pattern. We're using it as the foundation. You know, the fingers all relate to it. You know, your thumb goes along the entire time, and then during certain strokes, you add a finger and you pluck with your thumb and a finger at the same time. And then you just, you know, there's obviously like a few moving parts. You got to change the chords up a little bit and you have to change which finger. But if you stick to those rules that we've laid out here, it should be pretty straightforward. You know, it's just a matter of practicing it, you know, and practicing each measure. Like I would just go. Over and over again, right? Now we're back to our C chord and we're going to pluck with our middle finger on beat 1. And then on beat 3, I'm going to add my pinky to the thinnest string again at the 3rd fret. And then on beat 4, I'm going to release it to the open string. So. And then one measure of just my thumb. So let's recap. I'm going to play everything that we've learned up until now, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. now we're going to switch to the E major chord. And for that one, we start off with just the thickest string with our thumb and then the thinnest string with our ring finger, as usual. So for beat 4, I'm adding my index finger. I'm taking it off of the first fret of the G string and I'm putting it on the first fret of the thinnest string. Once again, for the E chord measure here, thumb and ring, then my thumb does its normal thing on beat 2 and on beat 3. And then for beat 4, I have to add my index to the thinnest string, thumb and ring. And now for the next measure, the outside strings once again. And then I'm going to add my pinky to the 3rd fret of the B string for beat 3. So the entire E chord. And then for F, remember I'm just playing that simple shape, and I'm going to pluck my thumb on the D string and my middle finger on the B string. And this is the one part where there's an exception to the rule. Our index finger is just going to sit this one out because our thumb needs that G string to carry on and keep doing its job, you know? So. And every melody note is plucked with our middle finger. For this one, I would just think about it like this. 1, which I'm already holding down as the chord shape. Then I add my pinky finger to the 3rd fret of the B string, and then back to my first finger, and then I release my index. So 1, 3, 1, oh, and then we're just adding that to our bass note thing. Let's just go through it motion by motion. On beat 1, thumb and middle, and then on beat 4, I add my pinky, thumb and middle again, and then back for the next measure, beat 1, to just my regular shape, thumb and middle, and then I lift my index, open on beat 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And here we're back to our comfort zone. I have my C chord, thumb and index at the same time, so my index is plucking the G string as usual. And then thumb and ring on beat 3. So that's an easy measure. And then I'm going to switch to my G chord with one finger, thumb and ring, and then thumb and middle on beat 2. Then I continue my bass line for beats 3 and 4. And then back to my C chord. So on beat 1, it's just thumb and middle, and then I just do my bass line for the rest of the measure. And then for the final measure, a little turnaround, which is really cool, you know? So for that one, I pluck the usual bass note on the A string for beat 1. Then I'm going to switch my ring finger over to the 3rd fret of the thickest string. And I'm plucking this all with my thumb. My thumb's just following the note that I'm fretting. And then on the A string, O, 2, holding down that 2nd fret with my middle finger. And that's the most country folk thing in the world, right? You know, just like a little walking bass line kind of thing. So like I said, I have a chart for this that's available. I'll put a link down below. You can print this off and you can practice at your own pace. And I'm just going to play through nice and slow with my metronome, 80 beats per minute. That sounds good to me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you want a even more thorough breakdown of this tune, I teach it in my course, my fingerstyle course. I'll put a link for that down below. And we break it down in much further depth. We learn it in several steps, so we do something a lot easier than this and kind of build up into it. And we actually go a little bit further than this too. The entire course is designed to be, as long as you can just play through some basic shapes, you can start the course, and it's going to help you with like the easiest fingerstyle songs ever, building up into things like this and even further than this. So please check that out if you are interested and if you enjoy learning fingerstyle guitar with me. Otherwise, don't forget, there's that chord chart on my Patreon page. I have a free ebook that if you haven't grabbed your copy, you might as well grab that too. It goes over all the fundamentals of guitar. It's free for all my subscribers, so I'll put a link for that there too. Otherwise, have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.